the blessing from God.
Mm.
And anytime God can take all of that away.
Mm.
So again, I totally agree with what he said that in an instant, God can take everything away from you. Hey guys, Alex here. Welcome back to my channel, a channel about real estate, personal finance, and business. In today's vlog, I will be doing another reaction video. So I enjoyed making the reaction video that I made last time on CNBC's feature of Meet Kevin. So I wanted to do another one. And this time I decided to choose a Filipino vlogger. So the vlogger that I will be doing a reaction video on is Marvin Germo. He's a Filipino vlogger that focuses on personal finance, and he posted his interview of Jason Law a few days ago. And while I was watching it, I could really relate to what Jason Law was saying about being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. So I enjoyed his video so much. So that's why I'm going to react to it right now. But before anything else, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And of course, I love to hear from you guys, so please comment anything down below. Okay, so let's start.
The skills that will require you to get your first million is different from what will allow you to maintain it and go for 10 or 20 million. Being someone who is right very, very far already in terms of richness, sabi ko richness, but what's your advice for people who have made their first million but want to scale it up further and make more?
Can I call a friend? Yung term na passive income, it's overrated kasi lahat ng nagkaroon ng passive income, pinaghirapan nila yun eh.
Mm.
'Di ba? You won't get passive income if you don't work hard on your earned income.
Mm. Hi everyone, we are in for a very special treat. You've seen him in our previous videos where he's an entrepreneur. He made his millions in his early 20s, lost everything, but brought it back again. We have entrepreneur, keynote speaker, best-selling author, Jason Law, back in the podcast. Jason Law, how are you?
Hi Marvin, it's great seeing you always. I'm energized whenever I see you, my friend. Thank you for having me here.
Grabe, salamat at binigyan mo ako ng panahon.
So first off, I like the title of this video. Why is the first million the hardest? And for me as an entrepreneur, I think it's the hardest because you don't really know how to make it yet. So you're still in the process of learning and of working towards that first million. But once you've done it, then making the next million is a little bit easier.
It's an honor to have the Jason Law back here. So, we are probably 9 months into the lockdown, no? But we're about also to close the year. And this year has been very, very interesting for a lot of people because this was something that people never expected. Na no one at the end of 2019 predicted na the whole Philippines will be in lockdown at a certain point in the year. So my question is this: before we go into any pleasantries, I want to go in a quick deep dive. Na coming into 2021, how should entrepreneurs or business people enter the year? What should be their approach, especially if they want to earn money?
Alam mo yung kasabihan na, 'di ba, winners never quit and quitters never win. That's not actually true eh. Kasi winners quit all the time eh. They just quit the right things at the right time. Yes.
Okay, so first off the bat, this quoted by Jason Law, winners quit all the time. They just quit the right things at the right time. So this is the main reason why I wanted to react to this video, because when I heard that while I was watching the video, I was like, I know, I agree. Because that's true. I mean, I've quit a lot of things in life. I know successful people who had quit a lot of things in life, and that's how they were able to become successful, because you need to say no to some things so you can really focus on what's important. And for us as business owners, at the when COVID started and we had to close down our businesses because that's what the government had us do. Because for those who don't know, who are not familiar with our businesses, we actually own two internet cafes here in Cagayan de Oro City, and we also own a coffee shop. So that the traditional businesses that we own, aside from the brokerage. Well, the brokerage is not a traditional business. So yeah, so that's what we owned. And when we had to close down our businesses because of the lockdown, we at first we were quite optimistic that okay, maybe this would get better. We didn't really know what was going to happen yet, right? Because that was just the start of the pandemic, the start of the lockdown. So we didn't know what was going to happen. But then by May, when things didn't seem to when there didn't seem to be any improvement, we knew that it was time to quit.
Yesterday, I was talking to an entrepreneur, and I was telling him stories of people I know na initially pa lang by March, nagkaroon ng pandemic. They were still optimistic. I think you were one of the people, Marvin, no, na one of the few people initially by March, you were already thinking that this would last a year at least.
So we were one of those people na by May, when things didn't seem to be looking any better, we already knew that this was gonna last for at least 2 years. So these things would improve for our business. For things wouldn't improve for our business for a long, long time. So the best case scenario, which was even unlikely for us because we crunched the numbers, and then we looked at the best case scenario. And the best case scenario for our businesses, at least, and it was focused primarily on leisure for internet cafes. And then although our food business or coffee shop in Divisoria was uh, considered an essential business, but because the schools, our primary market were the universities around Divisoria. And when the pandemic hit, all the universities, all the schools declared that the students would would do online, would shift to online schooling, to online classes. So things weren't looking bright for us, even with a cafe, even with a coffee shop, which was considered to be an essential business because our main market was no longer there because the students were at their homes. So we didn't have any customers basically. So yeah, we figured that if break even was our best case scenario and it was more likely that we would be in the red, why continue with the business? Like we didn't have the money, like we were we were not one of those we're not one of those big corporations like you have more resources to pool together to save the business. We are small business owners, so we needed our businesses to pay for itself, for its own expenses, because we couldn't do that for the businesses. And that's how we came to the decision that we had to close down. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't an easy decision for us because we lost the businesses that we worked hard for. But at the end of the day, you have to be practical and you have to be rational, to not focus too much on your own emotions. Like I personally, I wanted to be optimistic. I wanted to believe that it was gonna be all right in a couple of months, but we just knew, like I knew in my heart that it was not gonna be okay in the next few months. Like it was still going to be, it was gonna continue. Like this pandemic is going to continue for at least 2 years. So that's how we decided that okay, we need to close it down so that even though it was hard, at least we can focus on other things, and then we can continue to support our family because we have a 1-year-old daughter. We have our family is we still starting, so we needed to make the right decision for our family.
Diba? Kasi may mga iba pa akong kausap na, let's say, speakers. No, they need motivational speakers pa rin. They need speakers like this and that. And this would this will end in a few months. By October, things will become normal again. So sabi ko, sino bang papakinggan ko? Marvin Germo ba o sila?
Sobra,
And,
sobra.
and yun nga yung nangyari, no? Kaya parang may mga iba, meron pa rin sila mga restaurants na pinatagal pa rin nila ng 6 months, 7 months.
Okay, so here Jason Law is saying that he has friends who are restaurant owners and na pinatagal pa nila for 6 months. Kami, we did not, we made the decision early to close. Like, come May and we still could not open. Or actually, we could already open, but there were so many restrictions, which of course I could totally understand because it's the government's responsibility to protect its citizens. So you could not, the restrictions for gaming cafes were you only had to you only needed you had to fill 50% so dapat 50% capacity lang yung place mo, and the customers could not do online gaming. So we were a computer cafe, people go there to game, so we figured it would really not work out. So that's why we made the decision to close early, like as early as May we closed shop already, because we couldn't really foresee the business being able to support itself in the next 2 years at least. So, yung advantage for us was that we did not have to shell out our personal money to pay for the business's expenses because, yeah, again, we closed early. We made the decision to close it down early.
And some of them, they're paying rent even though the business is not operational. Although the yung tenant nila gave them discount. Pero grabe yun, di ba? Nagbabayad ka pa rin. May mga businesses na you have to really decide to close it and fight another day. And meron naman mga businesses na kasi right now the most powerful ng AI is machine learning. Kaya everything now is becoming kumbaga nandiyan yung automation. Although maraming mga tao na nawawala ng trabaho because of automation, just like in the BPO industry, we've seen that. But because of the technological advances, there are so many people also who are now becoming entrepreneurs. So this pandemic actually has accelerated us, as you know, right? As most people know, 5 to possibly 10 years.
So I definitely agree with the statement that the silver lining of this pandemic is that it has accelerated the Philippines 5 to 10 years into the future, because before the pandemic, you had to really go to all the government agencies to get something. Like for me as a broker, if I have a client who wants to reserve a unit in this developer, then you would really need to go to the office, get the physical reservation form, pay for the reservation fee. But then when the pandemic hit, suddenly all the developers could do business online. So that's one good thing that really came out of this. So now when I reserve a unit for my clients, or when my clients decide to invest in a unit with any developer really here in Cagayan de Oro, then they don't even need to get out of their own house. They just wire the money, they just fill up all the reservation forms and all the info sheets, all the documents that they need to submit. They fill it up online, and I just submit, I email a soft copy to the developer and along with the proof of payment for the reservation fee. So it's very, very convenient and also very fast because you're able to do more in one day compared to if you had to go to the physical office. So with everything, there's always a silver lining. And I believe that you just really have to look for that, to look for the beauty even in the darkest hours, even when the world seems to be crumbling around you. You just really need to look at the bright side, because I believe there's a bright side, there's a reason for everything.
In the future, now we are here today.
The skills that will require you to get your first million is different from what will allow you to maintain it and go for 10 or 20 million. Being someone who is right very, very far already in terms of richness, sabi ko richness. But what's your advice for people who have made their first million but want to scale it up further and make more?
Can I call a friend? Maraming mga tao, they think that they're an entrepreneur, but in reality, they're self-employed. In other words, they created a job for themselves when they started a business. So, ang business kasi should be operating even if you are not there anymore. So, even if you stop working for a week, a month, a year, the business will still continue to run. But again, this is wishful thinking, no? Kasi yung term na passive income, it's overrated. Kasi lahat ng nagkaroon ng passive income, pinaghirapan nila yun eh. Diba? You won't get passive income if you don't work hard on your earned income. First, you have to ask yourself, no, how much is enough for me? Okay? Kasi, entrepreneurs na grabe, magtrabaho, lalaki ng business, but wala na silang time for their families. They're not enjoying anymore. One of the biggest mistakes of new entrepreneurs, very, very simple. Wala silang bank account sa business nila. Sa personal. Magkahalo yung pera nila sa business tsaka dun sa personal account nila. They're operating decent businesses and yet ganun yung nangyayari.
For us, when we started our traditional businesses, we really set up a separate bank account for these businesses because we didn't want to mix in our personal money with the finances of the business. We treated each business like a separate entity. So we had a separate account for each business. So separate account for the Foundry Coffee Shop, separate account for Gamers Branch 1, and then separate account for Gamers Branch 2. Because it's easier to manage that way. When you check your bank account, you see exactly the money, the income that this business has. So it's not a good idea for you to mix up your personal money with your business money, because this will just confuse you or make you think that you have more money than usual, but then or make you think that you have more money than you already have, but then actually you still need to pay a lot of your suppliers.
So it's a matter of setting systems first. Setting a system first. So for example, nagnegosyo ka, it would be advisable na you have, sabihin natin, mga 4 or 5 accounts. So the first account would be like your operating expenses. So sa operating expenses, as an entrepreneur, you should be paying yourself a salary and not mix yung business mo tsaka yung personal mo. Tapos kung ano yung matira sa huli, yun yung pang-operating expenses natin. Kaya maraming mga businesses na feeling nila they have a lot of money. Kaya lang wala na pala. Kasi ang dami pang mga kailangan bayaran. So the next naman would be your taxes. So you allocate a percentage to your taxes from your operating expenses na account. So i-allocate mo na yan. The more, the better. Okay? So para at the end of the year, you think na you've made this much. Ang laki pa pala ng payables mo sa taxes. Mga more than 10 years ago. In this business, ang laki ng pera namin sa bangko only to find out that konti na lang pala yung pera namin. Wala na siya. Kasi ang dami pa namin mga payables, ang dami pa namin mga kailangang bayaran. And incidentally, it's a coincidence. I spoke to an entrepreneur yesterday and he told me that his sales was in the more than 100 million in sales. Ganun kalaki. Pero yung kinita nila, sobrang liit lang. Nasabi niya, parang hindi yata worth it. And then nagka-pandemic pa ngayon, naapektuhan yung buong business nila. So, yung allocation natin ng finances, no, it's very important. That's one, yung sa taxes natin. And then of course, to enjoy the business, you need to allocate for your profit. So yung profit naman,
this is one thing that my husband and I are planning to implement. We are planning to set up a separate bank account for our taxes. Because remember, in one of my videos, I shared to you how I allocate, how we divide our income, how we distribute it in separate bank accounts. So I have an investment fund, a health slash medical fund, tithing fund, and a marketing fund. So we have four funds. And actually, the fifth fund is for our daily expenses. So we are planning to set up a different bank account because I like what Jason Law said about needing that you need to have a separate account for your taxes, because when you pay taxes, you will need to get out money. So why not to take out money from your personal finances? So why not separate that so that you will already have a budget for tax payment? So that's what we are planning to do.
Hindi yan yung salary mo, no? And then dun sa account natin, dun natin pinapasok yung profit. But at the end of the year, or kung nangailangan ulit yung business mo ng operational expenses, kumulang, dun mo ulit kukunin sa profit. Kaya huwag mong gagastusin yung profit. Kasi hindi pa siya talaga profit. And then once you grow the profit, you grow the money there in that profit account, to the point na you can start investing, then that's the time you can start diversifying.
Is it true, at least in your case, that the first million is the hardest, then yung 10, 20 was relatively easier when you got your first already?
Yes and no. Kasi there are some people na mas mabilis sa kanila. But there are some people naman, they fall into the hubris of success because they become successful, because they have become successful. Now, they think that mabilis na magnegosyo. Nangyayari, lumalakas masyado yung loob nila. And then they feel like the success of their business is because of them. But there are so many factors yung business kaya naging successful. Tayo, we don't believe in luck, no? But we believe in God's blessings. Kasi blessed tayo. May mga instances na yung business mo naman kaya naging successful. Yan di naman dahil matalino ka or magaling ka. It's because you are there, right time, right place, and you are blessed.
Yes, I totally believe in this. Like when you achieve any measure of success, it's not really all because of you, but it's because of timing, of luck, hard work, preparation, resilience. So it's a mixture of all these things. But above all, I believe that it's very important to stay humble and to stay teachable, because once you feel like you've got it made and then you become prideful, that's when you stop learning. And when you stop learning, you stop growing, you stop improving. So yeah, it's very important to stay humble, to not let success go to your head, and to really give back all the glory and success to really the author of success, which is God. So everything that we have accomplished so far, it's really because of His grace. Even now, like in the midst of a pandemic, like God has allowed us to prosper in the fields that we have chosen to focus on, which is real estate and also in vlogging. So I'm really grateful for that.
And there are a lot of people who are wiser than you, who has more connections than you, who has the same business, and yet they failed. May may isang study yan eh. Ang galing ng study. I forgot the book. Sa dami kong binabasa ng mga libro. Parang pinakita niya doon na
kaya naman ako StarCraft lang ng StarCraft. Yan naman ako. So anyways, continue.
Yan kasi yung ikaw ko yung mga hindi na kailangan magtrabaho. Ako yung matindi pa rin ang pangangailangan ng gawin.
Sobra. Comment kung naniniwala kayong sobrang yaman si Jason Law. Anyways, continue.
Please, wag na kayong comment kasi magko-call a friend na lang ako.
Pero in terms of...
Ayoko na tong interview na to.
In terms of skill, may nagbago ba when you were making your first set of millions versus later on? Meron bang may required ba na dapat ito yung meron ka versus when you were just making the first set lang?
Sa steps, no? Yes, it becomes easier, but you have to be careful as well. Kasi pag kumita ka na ng first 1,000 mo, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, nagiging mas madali siya. But you have to be careful. The Bible talks about it. Before his downfall, a man is proud, but humility comes before honor.
Mm.
So those who continuously become who continuously are successful are those who has the humility, knowing that their business became successful not because of them alone, but because of blessings, the blessing from God.
Mm.
And anytime God can take all of that away.
Mm.
So again, I totally agree with what he said that in an instant, God can take everything away from you. So you don't really know what's going to happen in the future. Nothing is set in stone and everything is uncertain. So we just need to do our best and then trust God to do the rest. Trust God with the rest.
And this pandemic showed us how volatile our businesses are.
Got it.
Sa showbiz, alam mo, kasi my wife used to work in showbiz, no? Alam ko, Marvin, nag-showbiz ka rin before, so alam mo
Hindi
to.
nga eh. Di ako ba?
Um, it's funny, no? It's so ironic. The most popular celebrities and those who last, they have longevity, are the very same celebrities who have accepted that their career is not forever. And because of that, they are preparing.
Mm.
And because they are preparing, yung careers nila lalo pang humahaba. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Very much. Looking at 2021, no? For example, you free yung time mo, there's no other things that you would want to do, and then you have extra cash. Uh, what business do you think will thrive next year? Pero hindi yun yung pinaka-question ko. If it was you, knowing what will thrive next year, if you could pick one, ano yung business na sisimulan mo?
Some has this sense of altruism na they're doing it because they want to help people. They know that their business adds value, and then yung mga employees nila. But there are some who continues to do it for reasons na, power, fame. Iba-iba tayo eh.
At
Iba-iba
saka
tayo eh.
kung bata ka pa, what do we do? Di ba alam mo, parang anong gagawin mo? You can't stay at the beach the whole time naman. So, you have to do something also that parang may level of excitement, may level of risk also. Parang I'm parang ganun yung di ba ganun yung parang you do it also because you just really like it.
Kaya umpisa pa lang importante yung yung how much is enough.
Mm.
Kasi marami rin mga entrepreneurs na natrap na sila ng negosyo nila. So, kala natin they're really enjoying the life, but behind the scenes there's so many problems that they have to face, and it's sucking the joy out of them. So minsan nagbe-business tayo kasi may mga pangarap tayo, we wanna do this, we wanna do that, we wanna help people. But yun nga, palaki siya ng palaki. As long as you know why you're doing what you're doing, then wow, that's gonna be fantastic. But you can lose yourself along the way. And then before you know it, you don't own your business, but it's your business that owns you.
Mm.
Okay, so this is the saddest thing that can happen to an entrepreneur. Like you're working so hard, but at the end of the day, your business owns you versus to you owning your business. And this is where having a proper system comes in. Because when I started as a broker, I didn't really have a proper system. Like I would just put my buyers list in the note section of my phone, and I didn't even have a proper follow-up process. But when my husband, when he decided to join me in the real estate world, when we started to work together in the brokerage, he set up a system for me. And now we use all kinds of apps. We use all kinds of software. Well, not really software, more on apps. More on apps. We use different kinds of apps to help us stay on track and to help us automate and run our business efficiently. So if you're interested in which apps I use to help me close sales, then comment down below because I might just make it the topic of my next vlog. I really appreciated the system that he put in place because once it got activated, we were able to close 8 figures in sales every month consistently by God's grace. So that's how powerful like a system is. Because no matter how hard you work, if you don't have proper systems in place, you will just wear yourself out. So it's very important to invest in the right system, in the right apps, to do things more efficiently so you can work less but then be able to still do more. Like in our case, we were able to close more deals because of the system that we are now using.
Does that make sense?
Mm.
Kaya yun yung parang something na kailangan nandun sa ano natin, sa harap natin, no? To always remember why we're doing what we're doing. Um, with regards to your question, if I'm gonna start something, I'll definitely start something online.
Mm.
Definitely start something online, whether it's a product-based, service-based, and if I have a lot of money, an app, a service, di ba? So, yun yung isang very viable, especially now. What you earn is not going to be one of the most important. Let's say daddy doesn't work for 1 year, then we're still gonna be okay. That's what's important. Because if I stop working, then we don't have any money left, then it would be very difficult. So I was teaching her how to start saving and thinking differently. Not to be a slave of what you earn, but how do you make your money earn for you?
Okay, so that's the end of this video. I hope that you like this video as much as I did. This is actually just the first part. So I will do the second part in my next video. But for now, uh, since I also was able to get out what I wanted to share with you out from this video, I'll leave you with that for now. If you learned something new from this video and if you liked any of the things that I shared as well, please do comment down below. Let me know which videos you would like for me to react on next time. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified if I have new videos like this one. Till next time!